How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So I had to show you that number on the cluster of Craze here, 13 degrees Celsius, which is this in Fahrenheit. It's December. And I mean, it's not completely unheard of for us to potentially have brown Christmases in Alberta, but it's definitely not normal in my experience, and it's just a little crazy. Not temperatures that high. That's crazy. 13 degrees, I probably don't need my flannel if I was to get out and walk around. I'm actually just sitting over at in a parking lot here in Calgary at a deco stand. Show you what I mean. Deco. Windshield repair. I actually pulled into this exact location a few videos back when I had Amber with me, and I was turned away because it was like really close till closing time basically, and it was starting to get dark. So no worries. The next day I actually ripped over to their sticks and bricks location here in the city, and I got my little chip fixed, and I signed Grace up for the annual plan, because let me tell you, with a Jeep Wrangler, it's a good thing to have a windshield plan of some sort. It's about $90 every time you have a chip, or $50 a year. Now there might be a deductible I have to pay today. I'm not 100% sure. But why am I back here? Well, this little one right here was what I had fixed last time. So doesn't look great, of course, but it's better than what it was, and it won't spread. That's the whole point of this, right? And then wouldn't you know it, like literally a day after that, I get this guy over here. And I didn't even think he'd be able to repair it, but the guy who's manning this booth just took a look at it and he said it shouldn't be a problem. So that's why we're here. So hopefully that little bugger doesn't spread. Not the most ideal way to be spending my nice temperature day in December, because it's not going to last. Tomorrow's like right back down to like 0, I think. But that's okay. I'm still getting over this cold. And I have the other Molly panel that I want to put on the passenger side of Grace that I got in the mail in the last video. And so that's what I'm going to do once I get back to Lucky. I'm going to put that together. I've been reading through some of the comments on my videos, and I'm seeing a lot more people sort of asking about and wondering, those are like the same things, aren't they? Regarding my back surgery. So if you're new around here, you may have stumbled across some videos regarding that. I had back surgery just over 2 months ago. So I thought maybe I should do just a little sort of quick and dirty vlog to talk about my experience now that I'm this far out from that, and address some concerns people have, because the questions are always up in the air. If somebody is, you know, potentially needing back surgery, whether or not they should do that, this, that, and the other thing. So all I can do is really give my personal experiences, and that's what I was thinking I would do in this entry of the vlog, because I felt like push and record and not just sitting here and doing nothing for the next 30 minutes. Although that being said, maybe we'll wait till we're back in the tiny home on wheels and I'm putting together that Molly panel. Let's do that, because I can. All right, all done. Did not take too long at all, and didn't cost me anything except a $5 tip I left the gentleman. So definitely a program worth having if you have a windshield that's, well, basically straight up and down. So all right, I'm gonna get that Molly panel into the tiny house on wheels. And I didn't not make my bed this morning. You shush. Let's do something about that. Turner, that's much better. So let's get the Molly panel and all of its little accoutrements up on the bed. Right. I've already noticed something funny about this panel compared to the other one. I'll show you guys that once we get it out onto Grace. But let's get this all over here. And let's have a chat, shall we? As I mentioned, and as lots of you know, well, especially if you watch this video, I had back surgery. The reason I had back surgery is that I had, oh my gosh, I can't even remember it now on the spot. It was a herniated disc, a slip disc, degenerative disc disease, where my disc had bulged out and a piece had broken off and was pressing against my sciatic nerve. So it was a very uncomfortable situation, to say the least. It actually ended up forcing me to quit the mechanics job I was working at the time, because the pain was so intense, and I waited, well, from February till October to actually get in for the surgery date. And then what the surgery was a spinal fusion on my L5S1, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think that's what it was. Not the most comfortable thing to have done, and I definitely felt like a 96-year-old man when I woke up from the surgery, because I could barely move. But I went through the recovery process, and here I am 2 months later. I'm moving around a lot better. The pain that I was experiencing from that pinched nerve, gone for sure. But the bigger thing right now is that it's serious surgery, right? Like they drilled, well, first of all, they split my muscle, my back muscles open so that they could get to where they had to do the fusion. And the fusion is the, I'm assuming, titanium screws and a rod that go right into my spine, right into my bone, right? So it's bone healing and then the muscle split healing. I'm no expert, but it's been very uncomfortable, to say the least. And what I've noticed in my situation is that I'm a very stubborn sort of person, and I don't sit around and do nothing very easily, which is funny because I used to. When I was younger, that was my forte. That was my go-to. When I was done work, I would literally sit around and just veg out on video games, movies, whatever. And I'm not knocking that. I wouldn't change a thing. I enjoyed my youth in that sense. It's so funny to hear me say, I enjoyed my youth. Is that just me admitting that I'm no longer youthful? Probably. But this has definitely changed things. And now not wanting to sit around and do nothing is hard for me. But man, this will kick your ass. This will remind you that you need to rest for sure. But then you got to find the balance, because you can't just lay around and do nothing, because that causes everything to sort of seize up. You still have to get moving. And even this morning when I woke up, the pain that I had in my leg, and you got to remember that it's not the same pain, but it's all of that area that was sort of agitated by the surgeon being in there and poking around, and then the fusion being done. It's caused a lot of discomfort that I've noticed is alleviated by the prescription drugs I take, which is gabapentin, and just getting out there and moving, and then putting limits on myself. Being only 2 months out from the surgery, in my head, it's like, well, that should be more than enough time. Everything should be corrected, but it's definitely not. It's a slow process for sure. It's disheartening on some days, absolutely. I think, though, at the end of it, most importantly, is I don't regret doing it. The pain from the pinched sciatic nerve that I had was so incredible and so intense, albeit in isolated incidences, but enough so to convince me that, yeah, it was absolutely worth it for me to get that surgery done. And I will roll with and adapt to whatever I have to now going forward. My biggest problem and concern with the whole situation was that I was missing out on time with my little girl. I wasn't able to play with her. I wasn't able to run around and chase her. And that was my biggest heartbreak when it came to that pain that I was dealing with. So that played a huge factor in me making the decision to go with my doctor's advice and get the surgery. Now, I'm still not at a point where I can do exactly that, but I will say this: over the course of especially the last 2.5 weeks, I have been able to be more physically involved with my kiddo when we're at a play park or the playground or whatever, than I was able to be almost for this entire previous part of this year. And that right there just speaks volumes to me that I made the right decision. I sometimes see people ask, well, what should I do? I hear people say I shouldn't do it. Let me just put this out there. I hope y'all are watching this video that have these questions. Having been someone who put my entire pre-surgery and post-surgery experience here online for people to sort of consume from an entertainment standpoint, yeah, you get a lot of opinions thrown your way. And now that I'm on this side of the surgery, it's so easy for me to say, you are the only person that can make the decision for what's right for you. And it might kind of seem like a cop-out, like, oh, you're the only one that can make the decision for you. Like, no shit, right? But it's true. It's working with your, healthcare professional and what you feel is right for you, what you can and cannot tolerate. Nobody knows your body better than you do. And while it's scary, and I was terrified going into the surgery, of course. But I'm the only person that knows what's best for me, and I had to just kind of like, quote unquote, chance it. And for me, what I'm dealing with now on the daily in terms of the discomfort and whatnot was absolutely worth the decision to have the surgery done. Okay, I'm now noticing that it's not possible for me to multitask because I haven't done squat on this molly panel. So it's literally just attaching these 4 legs. Let me do that and then we'll catch up. Sorry, I thought I'd be able to do that, but I think all I've done is flip this thing over and put one of the legs kind of in the general area where it needs to go. There hasn't been a single screw screwed. All right, there we go. I got all 4 legs on. Yeah, she's good to go. We just gotta schlep her out there and get her on the side of Grace. But first, I bet you somebody wants some treats. She might not know it yet, but I bet she does. Hey, Penny, you want some treats, fuzzy cat? Want some? Who needs a bag of treats this big? Penny! Hi. Okay. Here, so I smelled it. Why'd you take it away? Hey, what's this? Hello. I know you're getting spoiled with temptations, aren't you? Good girl. Good girl. This. Ooh. The good kind? Yeah. Hey, you didn't even chew that last one. Thank you. You know what, you can have a bunch of these because she has completely lost interest in this advent calendar. The like shrink wrapped treats in there basically look like jerky. She is not a fan, so I don't think I'll be pulling any more of those out for her. So here you go, sweetie. I guess I could just give you 1 temptation a day. What a rip that would be, eh, little girl? Yeah. There you go. Wow. Good kitty, good kitty, good kitty. What? You want one more? You want more? This. Whoa, you can do it. Good girl. All right, I'm gonna go get that molly panel on Grace. You hold down the fort, okay? You hold down the fort. Good girl. Of course, like I mentioned in the last video, one of the biggest issues I've had since my back surgery is laying down. Like moving around is one thing, that's all well and good, but laying down in my bed has caused me so much discomfort. It actually kind of makes me not look forward to sleeping, which, if you're a human being, sucks. And so I have ordered myself a new mattress, as I mentioned before. I haven't heard from them yet, but it's supposed to be ready this week, and I've got a lot of fingers crossed that will solve, or at least alleviate, some of that problem. Because, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of taking all the drugs in the world just so I can have a good night's sleep. I suppose there is whiskey, though. And there she is. Grace has her second molly panel, and now she's equal. Well, almost. This is the thing I was talking about that's weird. So these molly panels, same company, same Amazon listing. You just have to choose driver's side or passenger side. It's kind of the way it's designed and contoured here at the back. Right, and it's a little bit more straight at the front. But here's what's weird. This one, see these little silver, these tiny screws on the outside, there and there. They're on all 4 of these legs, right? Under here as well, bada-bing, bada-boom. Those hold on the brackets that are on the underside that actually have the threads that the big bolts bolt into. But on this one, you see there's no little tiny silver screws. All that's holding the backing plate on is these big screws. So this one was a little bit trickier to put together, not much, but it's weird that why would one side have those screws that already just holds those brackets on and this side doesn't? I don't know. There's no quality control anymore, especially not when it comes from China, but it's all good. These are sturdy, pretty well constructed things. I'm not complaining. And now I've got even more space to store stuff. My plan with this is to probably take down my recovery boards from Lucky up here and mount them to Grace, because I don't plan on risking Lucky like I was last year, and Grace will be the one that does the more daring trips and whatnot. Although those boards are really long, so they're either going to stick out really far here, or I could put them this way and they're probably going to stick up. So I don't know. Definitely can't have them sticking out this way because then the door won't be able to open. But that sounds like a future Matthew problem. You know, one more thing, I sort of wanted to have a bit more of a candid conversation in this entry of the vlog, since I'm keeping it simple and hopefully on the shorter side, is that I've been having a lot of stuff on my mind lately, and that in turn leads me to have even more on my mind when I start thinking about, like, well, what should I be talking about on my channel? What should I share there? What should I keep to myself to reveal at a later date? Because as many people know, I do fancy myself a little bit of a storyteller from time to time, and I like to keep things fresh and keep some surprises for my amazing audience here. But this isn't so much falling into that category, and I just wanted to turn the camera on and not rehearse it too much in my head what I was going to say and just see what happens. So forgive me if I start to stumble over some of my words here. However, what I've been thinking about a lot more lately is my future, my goals, my own personal goals, right? Because that's what this is all about for me. My channel is about my life, and it all sort of started, this whole van life journey started as a way for me to improve my life. And I, in a way that sort of bucked trends, went against the grain, and to prove to myself and maybe even some other people that it's completely possible to do just that and be successful. And I have been, in my humble opinion, hugely successful right till now. And I have been very blessed with an incredible audience that responds very well to what I am doing here. And I'm very thankful for that. And that in turn, doing this stuff on YouTube like this in such a, I guess, a public forum, it also comes along with its fair share of fears about what are you going to do that's going to piss everybody off and they're all going to go away. I don't know that there's anything outside of the realm of, normalcy that I could do that would upset people to that extent. Obviously, fair share of people got upset about the Jeep, and then another fair share of people got upset about me doing a now and then storytelling, and there's also a nice little overlap amongst those two groups as well, I'm sure. But for the most part, the people here have been incredibly supportive and very positive. Everybody seems to be enjoying what I'm doing. And I remember back to near the beginning of this whole sort of endeavor and my journey here in my van life. Once the channel started to take off and I did one of my first live streams, I remember getting the question, well, what is your end goal here? Like, what's the outcome? Are you going to be doing van life for the rest of your life? Or will you be saving money to go back to sticks and bricks? And if I'm being honest, at the time, I didn't really know. In my head, I thought, well, I'm never going back to sticks and bricks. I will be doing van life or nomadic living for my entire life going forward. And I prided myself on that. And there's still a part of me that believes that. But there's this other part of me that keeps, kind of knocking at the floorboards or the ceiling or however, trying to get my attention, and I can't ignore it. So what's been at the back of my mind a lot lately is, going back to sticks and bricks potentially. Now, everybody calm down. That's not happening anytime soon, but I want to be able to share my thoughts here with everybody because if, again, to be as honest as I can be, there hasn't been a lot of there has been goals, and I've achieved a lot of those goals, and it's felt great. And the big one of those things, to go back to talk about the fear of losing your audience, is when somebody lives this lifestyle and they garner an audience that likes what they're doing, they get scared about changing things up, right? So I guess I will always have that fear, but I feel like maybe if I'm a bit more transparent and a bit more candid with my audience here, I can alleviate some of that fear going forward should something like that happen. Now, as of right now, it's completely just a thought in my brain, but a lot of it has to do around the fact that I'm a dad, right? I have a little girl, and I've convinced myself for the longest time that this lifestyle will work for her, and I still believe that. She has one way of doing her life with her mom, and she's got this other way of doing her life with me, and that's great. And I definitely want to always instill in her the idea of choice and different ways of approaching life. Now, it's become harder and harder for me to ignore those traditional senses of living that I've talked out against repeatedly here on my channel. The way of you're supposed to have a sticks and bricks, and you're supposed to have a routine, and I guess, for lack of a better word, we'll call it normal. And that's the way I was brought up. And I'm thankful I'm thankful for the way I was brought up. And this lifestyle definitely goes against that. And for a long time, it was fun to go against that. But here I am now thinking about the future, and I'm watching my little girl grow up, and it takes very little effort on her part to really make her dad start to think about things, right? Just a moment where I drop her off at her mom's in the evening, and she runs to the door when I'm about to leave and says, "Don't leave, Daddy, don't leave, stay." Now that hits on a certain level in a more personal way, because there was no plan in my head of being this single dad and this broken family, for lack of a better word. And we're going to get into all of that. I've got lots of stories I still want to tell here on this channel, lots of stories that still revolve around my van life, and we'll get into that down the road. I do pride myself on that, and I look forward to being able to share those stories with everybody. But right now, when those moments happen, or then she has to call me before she goes to sleep, and she says she misses me, for some reason, I'm not sure why, but that makes my brain go, well, maybe it would be easier if I had to stick some bricks for her. In the same breath, I know that that's not going to automatically solve anything, because in a fleeting instant, this little girl who's 3 years old can be just as mad at me the next moment as she was missing me the next. And I'm not naive to that, but I am an overthinker. I also am very proud of myself for where I've gotten to so far. And if I keep pushing myself and keep putting the work in and being able to entertain my amazing audience here on YouTube, things are just going to continue to go up. And that's where my brain starts to think, well, maybe we could potentially have a little spot to call our own, and I will have actually earned that through hard work and determination. That's not something I ever thought I'd be able to do for myself, if I'm being quite frank about things. And so I think the new goal that I want to be very candid about for Vanlife Plus is that I do eventually want a place to call my own that is a sort of a settling down area for me and my daughter, and for my life going forward. When will that happen? I don't know. So I'm sure some people will be like, well, just do that now. Just go get an apartment, go get a condo. That's not what I want. I don't want to be renting. I don't want to be in a small space, which is funny to hear, I'm sure. But I have, aspirations and ideas of what I would want. Whether or not that happens, I could, time could go by, and in 6 months I could completely change my mind. But right now, this is where my brain is at, and it's definitely what I want for myself down the road. If I have to put some sort of timeline on it, I'd say maybe 2 years. I don't know. That's the hardest question to answer. But I hope that my audience is in this for what I'm doing, for the entertainment I can hopefully bring to some of you, to the small amount of inspiration I could bring to maybe even fewer of you. I don't ever plan on stopping the YouTube channel. I would keep the channel. My creative brain starts thinking down the line like that, and I'd probably just maybe change the name of the channel and use Vanlife Plus, use the Vanlife Plus saga as how we got to where we are now, and then do, I don't know. I don't even know what kind of videos I would do then, but I know it would definitely revolve around overlanding, camping, tiny home living, vehicles, and that, and the other thing. And that all is to say, that's, again, so far down the line, I just don't know. But I keep yapping my friend's ear off about this stuff almost every day ad nauseum, and I thought maybe it'd be a good idea to just get it off my chest here and put it out there. So now, if it does happen, nobody can ever say, well, we didn't see this coming, you blindsided us, because nope, here we are. I'm being very candid about this. I want to always be as candid as I can to a certain extent, right? Obviously, I like to keep, like I said, surprises for people, but I would rather be transparent about where I'm going with my life, because it all goes back to the unbelievable success that I've had here with all of you. So I guess to sort of wrap this up and not ramble on too much longer, I just wanted to put together a short video, giving as many people I could an update about my surgery situation, and then talk candidly about where I potentially see myself going in the future. And just to really say as sincerely as I can, thank you all very much for watching. I put out a lot of content. I try to keep a video coming out Monday through Friday. I don't know if that's something I'll be able to keep up for the long term. I would like to see myself maybe do 2 or 3 longer form videos a week, but right now that's what's working for me. And the only reason it's working for me is because you all keep watching. So again, thank you all so very much for clicking on my videos. I really do put my heart and soul into all of this. I know some of them are probably a little bit more enjoyable than others, or it kind of comes through that there more effort was put in than some of the other ones, but therein lies a nice balance between the two. So I'm very appreciative of all of you. Thank you again. I can't say it enough. And if I don't stop now, it's just going to be another 5 minutes of me saying thank you. Just know that I appreciate each and every one of you. And now I'm going to give myself a Vanlife shower because, believe it or not, it's been less than a day and I'm already just a little stinky. So I'm going to take care of that and I'm going to move on with my day.